Great. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my kitchen. And thank you, Education Fund, so much for having me. I always love being part of your programs. I'm also a gardener and food forester and educator, and it's always been such a great um, symbiosis and collaborative effort that we have. I'm also a teacher these days because my kids are working from home every day, so we're really in it. I have a fourth and sixth grader, so I'm a chef, teacher, homeschooler, and gardener. So right there with all of you guys. Um, so today what we're gonna do is we're just gonna make some food and have some fun. At Della Bowls, we do all plant-based food, but it, like Debbie said, is not lacking in flavor or any kind of substance whatsoever. You're gonna find that these recipes are really simple to make, but the beauty is when they all come together and it's mix and match foods made simply, but the combinations are where the magic is. So you might be making, I'm thinking, wow, this is really simple. This is too easy. How's this all going to taste good? But it's that layering of textures and flavors and those different combinations that come together. So that's what Della Bowls is about. We do use a ton of greens and really nutrient dense vegetables. So your body's really going to get what it needs and feel really satisfied and healthy afterwards. I'm going to go through the ingredients. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the equipment as we go. We're going to go kind of slow because I know that a lot of you guys might be cooking along at home, which is really fun. And then if you guys have a question along the way, you can put it in the chat and Debbie will relay that question, but not to worry. Like nothing here is like really finely, it's not this, we're not like going for that really finely tuned, like a tablespoon of this, a cup of that. Like it's kind of a pinch of this and a dash of that. And that is how it all kind of comes together in your home kitchen. The only thing I'm really going to measure out is the quinoa because quinoa does need to cook like rice. So it's like a 1-to-2 ratio there. So 2 parts water, 1 cup quinoa, or 2 cups quinoa, 4 cups water. So that'll be something that we measure out. But other than that, it's going to be just kind of some playtime in your kitchen. And I was just going to say one other thing. Oh, I do recommend making a little bit extra. So not to worry if you feel like you're making a big batch of something. Our way of cooking and eating is really making a lot of extra. And then the next day you have, you might have a container like this half full of sauce or half full of quinoa or, a few extra greens. And then that way you can really mix and match the next day and come up with some really fun ideas. If you end up loving this or loving our concept, I just wanted to throw out, we do have a cookbook. It's called Della Bowls at Home. And it's got all sorts of those simple recipes with lots of good pictures and information about ingredients and equipment. And it's on our website. You can get it as an ebook and download it right away. So it's called Della Bowls at Home. And I'll send you some information on that after the class with the recipes, just in case you guys are interested. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Della Bowls is a plant-based bowl concept, and we follow the same basic formula for all of our bowls. We start with a base. A base could be anything like brown rice, black rice, quinoa. If you like couscous, if you prefer pasta, basmati rice, that part is really up to you, but it's a healthy grain at the bottom. And then next we go with a plant-based protein. So plant-based protein could be something like cooked lentils, cooked chickpeas, black beans, any kind of beans really. It could be tofu, it could be tempeh. And then if you're not a plant-based eater and you wanted to throw on some animal protein, that's all you for that too. But that's where that would go, is in that protein category. The next thing that you're gonna have is your vegetables. So you could have lots of vegetables. You could have sweet potatoes, which I just bought at the store. We're not going to make them today, but if you wanted to roast some sweet potatoes and throw those in there, that's a great vegetable to add in. You could add in some sauteed broccoli, some roasted cauliflower. Today, our veg is going to be greens, and I'm going to teach you how to do them raw or cooked. So we're going to do greens 2 ways, and you can choose how you like them best. The next category would be the sauce. We do all of our sauces in blenders. Makes it really, really easy. Most of our sauces are raw ingredients, nuts, seeds, olive oil, that kind of thing. We throw them all in the blender and we make them like a pesto almost, only there are tons of different ingredients. So we're going to use our blender today to make our sauce, and it's going to be similar to a pesto, only we're going to use sunflower seeds instead of pine nuts, and we're going to use oat milk instead of Parmesan cheese to add that creaminess. So get your blender out if you haven't already. And then the last category in della bowls is the boost. So the boost could be something really crunchy if you need to add a layer of crunch. It could be something really smooth and creamy like an avocado or a hummus. It could be something really bright and fresh like grated carrots and grated beets or a spicy slaw. So it's really, the boost is kind of that topping that's going to balance out that whole bowl and really make those layers really defined. If you have a lot of soft things in your bowl, you're going to want to add something like really bright and flavorful and really crunchy. So so that's kind of how that boost works. So today our boost is going to be sunflower seeds, or I think you guys all got a little packet of these pepitas, so that would work also for that crunchy boost. And we're going to make a bright pink hummus with beets, and that's going to be perfect for February because it's bright pink and you can put it in the shape of a heart if you want, but it kind of reminds us of that like pink love theme of February. And then we're also going to add an avocado because who doesn't love avocado, right? So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started on a, we're just going to go in order like that. We're going to go base, protein, veggies, sauce, boost, in that order. So we're going to start with our quinoa. You guys may have gotten a bag of quinoa. This one is one color quinoa. You might also find, which is what we use at the restaurant, it's a tricolor quinoa. So it's got all three colors, red and white and black quinoa. So they're both good. You can use whatever you have. I'm going to go ahead and use the quinoa that was in the basket that Debbie brought to me today, the white quinoa. Quinoa is really awesome, you guys, because it is a protein. It's got a lot of the amino acids. I want to say it's a complete protein if my memory serves me right. So just by adding this grain, you're adding a lot of dietary fiber and you're also adding a lot of protein to your bowl. So it's going to really boost up that full satisfied feeling. So we have a rule of thumb at della bowls that we always rinse our quinoa before we cook it. Quinoa can be really bitter and have almost kind of like a dirty taste to it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in this fine mesh strainer, and I'm going to rinse it under the sink for just a minute. It's just going to come out kind of cloudy. And then I'm going to shake off that residual water, grab a small saucepan, and dump that quinoa right in there. So it's not, you don't have to do that step. A lot of people don't do that step. I don't always do it when I'm at home, honestly, but it definitely does make a difference. And if you have some sensitive palates like kids eating the quinoa, then rinsing it is going to kind of get rid of that bitter flavor a little bit. So I put in 1 cup of quinoa and 2 cups of water. Again, if you're cooking for a bigger group or you want leftovers tomorrow, do 2 cups of quinoa, 4 cups of rice. I'm going to put it on the stove and turn it on to boil. And as soon as it's boiling, I'm going to turn it down and cover it just like I would with rice. So we're just going to kind of let that go. I'm going to listen for it. I'm going to hear it when it starts boiling. If you see it in the background start like bubbling up, somebody tell me. All right. So the next thing that we're going to do is the plant-based protein. Now this is so simple. There's no excuse for not eating healthy when you can just add chickpeas. Chickpeas are one of the best protein-rich legumes that there is. So you guys got these ones today, and you can go ahead and open them and drain them. Also using my favorite tool, I think, is this fine mesh strainer. It's great for everything. So I would, rinse off the quinoa and go ahead and rinse off those beans. We actually cook ours from scratch at Della Bowls. We use the dry bean and we cook them with a little bay leaf, and they're very simple, little sea salt. But so I'm going to use those because I already have those open. I'm going to save my canned goods for a rainy day. And I'm just gonna put some in a skillet with some water just to warm them up, right? I don't need them hot, but I also don't want them cold. This isn't a salad. This is like a warm bowl with lots of different temperatures and textures. So I'm gonna just put that on low and let that kind of hang out here. I'll do this one here. Okay, but I'll just keep that on low so that the water doesn't boil over. So like I said, if you guys have your can, pop it open, drain it, rinse it, and put it on the stove. Just need one of those cans. We're gonna need the other can for later for the hummus that we're gonna make. All right, so you guys, today we're using some of that beautiful produce from the gardens. We have some kale, some Everlast spinach, some Shiso spinach, or Shiso spinach. Or no, maybe this is Everlast. What's this one, Debbie? I'm forgetting the name of this one. Which is which?
The long one is longevity.
Longevity spinach, this one.
Yep. And that one's Shiso, S-I-S-S-O.
Oh, this one is Shiso. And what is this one again?
Okinawa.
Okinawa. I'm out of practice. I was in California for 7 months and I forgot all my Miami natives. Okay, Okinawa, longevity, Shiso. Actually, I have growing all of these in my garden, but I just forgot the names. So this one is pretty tough. Like if you taste it, you know, it's really going to be pretty hard to chew in your mouth. So if you're interested in cooking spinach, I would probably go with this one as the cooked one because that's going to break it down a lot. Also, these ones are really nice to cook. The purple though is also really nice raw because you'll get to keep that beautiful purple color. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna use the purple and the kale as the raw, and we're gonna marinate those in olive oil and lemon juice. And we're gonna use these ones for the cooked ones. So let's start with the cooked variety. So I've already peeled off some of the leaves of the Shiso spinach, and that's ready to go. And then I also have a mix of the other spinaches here. So we're gonna go ahead and cook those in a skillet. We're gonna get some garlic for that one. We have some cloves of garlic. And I'm just gonna slice two, rough chop them. So I'll give you guys this view of my cutting board. And I hear my quinoa is just starting to sizzle, so I'm gonna turn that down in just a minute. I always smash my garlic like this with my big chef's knife, and then just kind of rough chop it here. Smash the other one, rough chop, and then just give it a couple of chops back and forth. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're not trying to win a Beard nomination here. This is just fine for your home cooking. So all we're gonna need for this cooked spinach is the spinach, the garlic, some olive oil, and just a dash of lemon juice and some salt. So super, super simple. So you're gonna just, if you're gonna do the cooked variety, we're gonna grab a skillet and we're gonna heat it up. Now, if you're not interested in the cooked variety and you just want to do the raw variety, we're going to do that one next. But with the cooked variety, it's super simple. We're just going to heat our skillet. We're going to add a little bit of olive oil. We're going to add the garlic, and then right away we're going to add that spinach and just give it a nice little saute. Not too long. We just really want it to wilt. We're going to add a dash of lemon juice and then turn it off and wait. That's just going to sit there. Meanwhile, I see that my quinoa is boiling, so I'm going to turn that down to low, and I'm going to put a cover on it. All right, so this one's heating here. Going to add just a little bit of olive oil, maybe 2 tablespoons, a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons. You can also, if you have these giant leaves like this, you can also kind of rip them up a little bit. That would help as well. One thing I do want to say though, we're going to use some spinach in the sauce as well. So do keep a small handful of spinach out of the cooking I should have remembered that part, but maybe just take like a little handful of that more delicate spinach and keep that out for the sauce. I have a little bit of spinach for the sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and cook all of this. Now, a lot of recipes will tell you put the garlic in and really saute it for a couple of minutes. I don't believe in that. I like to, oh, it wasn't even turned on. I like to just throw it in a hot pan, which I just failed at because my pan was not on. I have too many things going on in the stove right now. But I like to sizzle it and then immediately throw the greens on there, because you don't want that garlic to cook too much. It will burn really, really quickly. So as soon as that oil is hot, throw that garlic in. You want to hear that sizzle, and then you want to throw in your spinach. It's okay if you get a little bit of water in there, because that's actually going to help it cook in there. So that should just take a couple minutes. I didn't get my pan hot enough because it wasn't actually on, but your pan should be really hot. It should sizzle when it goes in that pan, like, and that's a great sound. And just cook that in with the garlic for just a minute until it wilts a little bit. So as that's cooking down, I'm going to show you how to do the raw variety of this as well. So this is going to be great with your kale. So if we're going for the raw variety, we're going to take our kale and we're going to just take the stems off like this. I just like to gently pull the stems through. And if you compost, this is a great thing to go in your compost. I've already rinsed these off, so make sure that if you have not washed your greens, that you do wash your greens. My favorite way to wash greens actually is to put them in a bowl like this and run water kind of on the side of the bowl to fill the bowl up with water. I don't like putting the water straight on the greens because that could really bruise them if they're delicate. So I like to fill the whole bowl up with water and then just kind of do like this to get all the dirt to fall through. And then I take it out and dump the water so all the dirt comes out. So once you have these leaves, you just want to kind of slice them in nice bite-sized pieces. So this is more of a delicate Jacinto kale, where this is more of a curly kale. So, but you want to cut them all kind of around the same size. All right, I'm going to just give my sauteing grains a little stir here as they're cooking up. Mix them up with the garlic. I'm going to add just a pinch of salt. And then I'm going to add just a dash of fresh squeezed lemon juice. So if you have a lemon, you can just squeeze the lemon. Again, I like to use this guy and squeeze the lemon right over there so that the seeds stay in here and the lemon comes out there. I already pre-squeezed since I was teaching the class. So I just added a little dash of lemon. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it off already. I don't want to overcook those greens. So this is what those sauteed greens look like. So here's your sauteed version. This is going to be your raw version. Now, either of any of the greens could have gone in these. You know, you're not wrong if you choose one for the raw and one for the cooked. It's just that the tougher leaves like this are going to break down more when they cook. So I would recommend the tougher greens to go in the hot pan. All right, so here we have our other greens, our softer kales, and then we're also going to add some of that Okinawa spinach for that beautiful purple color. So I'm going to grab some of those out of my bowl here. I love that purple color. That makes such a beautiful rainbow for these bowls, and that's really what we're going for, the most color we can possibly get here. So I'm also going to cut those up to add into the kale there. Getting a few stems in there, which is totally okay. It's just going to add extra flavor, extra texture. All right. So you've got your more delicate greens, your curly and Jacinto kale, your purple Okinawa spinach. And for this recipe of the marinade, it's the same ingredients that you used for the cooked variety. So we're just going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So roughly 50-50. So I didn't measure. If you want to measure, you definitely can. You could do a 1/4 cup or 1/8 of a cup or 2 tablespoons. That's about what I just put in. A pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper. And then I'm going to use my whisk and I'm going to whisk that together. And that's your marinade. It's as easy as pie. Well, much easier than pie, actually. That was the easiest thing ever. And now is the time where you really want to wash your hands really good. My hands are pretty clean because all I've been doing is cooking, but I'm going to wash them still really, really good. And if you're working in a restaurant, you'll want to put on gloves. But if you're in your own home kitchen and you're just cooking for yourself and your family, just wash your hands really, really good. And then pour that marinade right over that kale. Make sure you get all the good stuff out. And then you're going to use your hands and just massage it into that kale. And you really actually want to use a little bit of muscle here. You're not just mixing, you could use tongs for that. You're actually like grabbing it like you're giving your best friend a massage. So you want to break down that kale. You want to make sure all the leaves are really nicely coated and marinated. And what you're doing is making that kale a lot more palatable, especially if it's a little bit tougher, not the fragile Jacinto type. So it's actually going to reduce in size by about half. That's when you know that you're done. So you can see my whole bowl of kale is about a half bowl of kale and Okinawa spinach at this point. So the lemon juice is really important. It really makes a difference if it's fresh lemon juice. So I would not recommend getting like store-bought shelf stable lemon juice for this one or anything really, but definitely when you're working with kale, because you want it to kind of the enzymes to break down that toughness of the kale. So that lemon juice is really going to do that. So here you have your raw variety and here you have your cooked variety. Now you could add both of these to your bowl or you could choose one or the other. So probably everybody's going to have a favorite here. All right, so that was our veggie. We're going to move on ahead to the sauce. Now for the sauce, like I said, we're going to use the blender and it's going to have basil, spinach, olive oil, lemon juice, sunflower seeds, garlic, and I already say salt, basil. You have this beautiful holy basil that came in your batch of veggies. So we can go ahead and use that basil, or if you have a different basil that you like to use from your own garden, you can mix and match the basils. I actually have a few leaves from the basil in my garden. You can even add these little flowers. That's going to add some really nice flavor. So like I said, we're going to have, let's do maybe 2 cloves of garlic, your spinach. I thought I had basil. You know what? I may not have had other basil than this, but I did have parsley, and parsley works also. So, you can really kind of mix and match those herbs. Parsley is going to go in there too. We're going to get crazy with this sauce. You could even add some of those pumpkin seeds if you wanted to. We're basically making a version of pesto. So we've got our herbs, we've got our sunflower seeds, got our lemon juice. Oh, and then for the liquid, besides oil, we're also going to add a little bit of milk, which could be, I'm using an oat milk, so Trader Joe's oat milk, this one. But you could definitely use an almond milk if that's what you have at home. So these are going to be your ingredients. So we are going to put into our blender. First, I'm gonna smash the garlic. I always like to smash garlic before I put it into a blender. Now, if you really like garlic, go ahead and add 2 or maybe 2 little ones. These are kind of big, so actually I'm only gonna add 1 because these are really, really big garlics. So I'm gonna add 1 garlic. I'm gonna add that nice big handful of spinach. I'm gonna add about the same amount of that basil with all the flowers in it. Just took the stems off for the most part, but I'm gonna add in all those flowers and leaves like so. I'm gonna add in a little bit of parsley because I have it. Why not? Add in some sunflower seeds to hold it all together. Dash of lemon juice. A dash of olive oil. And a dash of oat milk. Now, I know some of you guys are feeling really iffy about this because we're not using measurements, and you're going, well, how much of this and how much of that did she put in? And I am challenging you to just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, just like I did. See how there's a little bit of liquid at the bottom? You've got your greens here. And it's going to come out delicious, absolutely delicious. Now, if you're using these roasted and salted sunflower seeds, I would be wary of adding too much salt since they do have salt. So maybe just add like a tiny pinch of salt. I added unsalted, so I'm gonna go ahead and just add a little bit of salt. Oh, the other thing that works really well here, you guys got some maple syrup. You can always make your sauce, and then if you feel like it needs a little sweetness, just add like a touch of this. Which is totally optional. You can add it now, or you can wait and see what you think. I'm just gonna add like a drizzle. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and blend this. If you have a Vitamix at home or a blender that has a plunger, this is great, right? Because you can stick it right down in this hole and push the stuff down as the motor's running. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use this blender. We're going to use this plunger, and we're just going to push that stuff down with the motor running on kind of a medium low until it's all mixed up. So let's go ahead and do that part. All right, now this came out a little lighter than I wanted and a little more liquidy than I wanted. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add in some more spinach. It's all good. Gonna add in a little bit more spinach, make it a little bit darker green. And then I'm
Julie,
also gonna add in, yeah.
Oh, while you're doing that, we had a good question on asking if you were vegan or vegetarian, and what are your thoughts on healthy eating?
No, I am not. I would consider myself a qualitarian, and that's a word that's not like so mainstream, but I'm really particular about the quality of the food that I eat. So I love tasting really awesome like chicken liver pates, or awesome charcuterie that like is somebody that got Heritage Meats has made, or it's a great chef that's like really sourcing very carefully, or we're getting like organic grass-fed things. So I'm not a big meat eater, but I love like partaking in the joy of food in a way that is sourced really carefully and consciously. So yes, probably my diet is 90% plant-based, but it's not because I'm like binary, this or that. I don't call myself one thing or another. I just tend to like a lot of vegetables, and then when I'm out and about, if I feel like eating something else that looks good and was sourced carefully and made with care, then I do eat it. So, but I mean, I definitely think the more plants you eat, the better. So, and that's our thing at Della Bowls. Like, we don't want to tell anybody to like be one way or another, because that doesn't really work for everybody. And everybody's body type's different, and the energy that you use is different. but just like really care about what you eat and try to eat as many vegetables as you can. But then what isn't vegetables, just like make sure it's really done with care and done well. So I actually was a vegan for many years, and then I became a professional chef when I was 22 or 23 or something. And I realized I either needed to go that route, or if I was not going to be a straight vegan chef, I really needed to open my mind to a lot of new things. So it opened my mind, but I think still naturally I just gravitate towards vegetables. Makes me feel good. All right, so I added a little bit more sunflower seeds and a little bit more spinach. So we're going to go ahead and blend that up one more time. Okay, so there you have it. It's like, it's not so thin that it's going to run out if I turn this sideways. It's like a kind of a thick sauce. It's got some nice viscosity to it. You can see it kind of coming down like that. That's what you're going for. If it's a little bit thinner, that's okay. If it's a little bit thicker, that's okay too. We're going to taste it right now and just see if it needs any sweetness, saltiness. Mine just needs a little bit more salt. I would normally add more garlic, but I love garlic. My kids are eating it tonight. I don't know that they'll love it super spicy and garlicky. So we're going to keep it just like this. But you guys take a few minutes with your own sauces and doctor them up just how you like them. Okay, does anyone have any questions before we move on to the beet hummus? You guys all doing good? All right, so I'm going to use the same blender because I only have one blender top for my beet hummus. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer this sauce into a squeeze bottle. If you don't have a squeeze bottle, which most people that are not chefs probably don't have squeeze bottles at the ready, just go ahead and put it in a bowl or something like that, something that you can just use a spoon to scoop it out with. So we're going to just transition and give this a quick rinse. We don't have to wash it so well because as long as the green is out, all the food's going together, right? So we don't need to like run it through the dishwasher or anything like that. We just want to get most of the green sauce out and either in a bowl or a squeeze bottle or some other kind of container. Okay. Now this is amazing for about 5 days. So whatever you guys don't use today, definitely save it in the refrigerator. And you can use it. It would go great on like a tomato soup or a piece of chicken if you eat chicken, or some salad. It's a lot of different things. So just giving it a quick little rinse. And then we're going to go ahead and make our beet hummus. Okay. So the only things left after the beet hummus is cutting the avocado and adding those sunflower seeds to the mix. So we're almost done, and you guys can see how easy and quick this recipe is, even though there's a lot of pieces to it. I think the quinoa is probably about done. It is. I'm going to turn my quinoa off. You know when the quinoa is done because all the water is gone. So I'm just going to let it sit and hang out there. I'm going to add a little salt later, fluff it up. But for right now, I just turned it off. And we're just going to let it hang out there. Okay, so what are we going to use for this beet hummus, guys? Debbie was so nice and got you organic cooked beets. So that makes your life really, really easy, right? If you don't have these cooked beets, you could get regular beets at the store and you could boil them. So here's a regular beet from the store. It still has its skin on it. And I just put it in hot water and it's been boiling this whole time. And if I was going to use that right now, I would probably have let it cool for a little while and peeled my beet just to get all the rough edges off. But today we're so lucky, we're gonna use these beets. You could also use raw beets. I mean, you could shred the beets and add those in your hummus as well. But this is just gonna make like a nice creamy texture. So for the recipe, it's pretty much equal parts beet to chickpeas. So let's see, if you guys are using 1 can of chickpeas, that's about 1.5 cups of chickpeas. And I'm gonna use about this much chickpeas, which is like 2 cups. So you basically wanna like visually kind of figure out how the rough equivalent. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's totally good. So I'm actually gonna add all my chickpeas and all my beets. And I'm gonna throw them all in my blender. You know, actually, I'm gonna cut my beets just into quarters. That's gonna help them blend up a little bit. So I'm gonna do that real quick. Now these beets are really nice and soft, which is important. If you're cooking your own beets, you want to make sure that they do get nice and soft. You should be able to stick a fork right through them like that with no problem, right? So. All right, so this recipe, guys, actually it's a della bowls recipe, but we don't usually use it with beets. We usually use it with roasted sweet potatoes. So the recipe that I give you guys, you could actually use beets or roasted sweet potatoes in the same way. All right, so we've got that together, and I'm actually going to look at the recipe so that I can give you guys some measurements on this one. All right, so I did 2 cups of chickpeas, 2 cups of beets, more or less. I'm going to add about 1/3 cup tahini. So this tahini is sesame paste, and that's going to give it a really nice nutty flavor without the nuts, right? It's just seeds. So that was about 1/3 cup. You can measure if you would like to. We're going to do about 1/2 cup of olive oil. We are going to do about 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, which I need to do a little bit more lemon. That is not going to be enough. Again, we want to always use the fresh lemon. So I'm going to rinse off my favorite fine mesh strainer, add a little bit more lemon juice. Now this recipe does not use garlic, raw fresh garlic, but you can definitely throw a clove of garlic in there if you would like to. All right, so we've got our lemon. Also, just a side note, you guys, if you're interested to know more about this equipment that I'm using, everything from like my favorite knives to my favorite cutting board, blenders, bowls, all the stuff. We do have an Amazon page where I have put everything on there that I like. So it makes it really easy for people to just go on there and find that stuff. So I can send that link in the recap too with Debbie, which I don't think I've shared it with you yet, Debbie, but I'm happy to if you want to include it. Just makes it really easy for people to find what they're looking for. Okay, so we've got our chickpeas, olive oil, tahini, beets, lemon juice. Now here's where you can get creative. You can either use sumac, which is going to also add to that really red, intense flavor and boost that lemon flavor, or you could use a little dash of cumin. So I wouldn't do both personally. I don't know, maybe it would work. I have never tried it. But I'm just going to add, let's see, a teaspoon. Sounds like, this seems like a lot. Maybe start with 1/2 teaspoon. Maybe I'll add a little bit more than 1/2. Start with 1/2 teaspoon and taste it. You can always add more, but 1 teaspoon seems like it might be a little too much. And then we're going to just blend that up. And again, I'm going to use that plunger. I'm going to use that plunger. I'm also going to add a little bit of salt here too. Okay. So just to recap, you guys, you got your chickpeas, your beets, your tahini, your olive oil, your lemon juice, your sumac or your cumin, and a little bit of sea salt. And we are going to go blend that up. Now, this one isn't going to blend up quite as easy as the green sauce because there's not quite as much liquid and it's a little bit harder. So I'm going to keep it on low and I'm just going to mash it slowly. So why don't you guys go ahead and do that? Now, I should have also told you, if you have a food processor actually works better for hummus. It can get it smoother, faster. The blender can be a little bit arduous, but we're getting there. So it looks like that right now. And I'm just going to blend it for just a couple minutes. Just a few more seconds. I just kind of mixed it up to get all the chunky parts down. And I'm going to do it for just a little bit longer. All right. And then of course you want to taste this also and give it some salt or pepper. If you want to add a little garlic, you can always add a little garlic there too. Now this is a party favorite, guys. It's so beautiful. The color of it is bright and vibrant and pink. And so when you show up at a party with this, people really can't wait to taste it and see what it is. Mine is tasting super delicious. So go ahead and doctor yours up. If you need to blend it more to make it more smooth, go ahead with that. If you want to add a little bit more sumac, actually, I could add a little bit more sumac. Maybe a teaspoon isn't too much. It's definitely going to brighten up that color a little bit too. So this is great with pita chips. If you guys use the za'atar seasoning and use like some pita chips with za'atar toasted and then add this, really lovely appetizer to take to a party.
Okay. He had a great idea. He says when he goes camping, he likes to throw his beets right into the campfire and let them roast while the campfire is roasting.
Ooh, that is a good idea. Super good. But then your fingers are all red at your camping trip, right? Beets can be such a mess sometimes. That's why these ones you got today are so great, Debbie, because they don't make your fingers too red.
The teachers,
all right.
You know, nice, easy beets and squeezable tahini.
I know, I love the squeezable tahini. Girl, you took care of your people today. All right. Grab your avocado. Now, this is the firmness test. It should be like firm enough that you can sort of squeeze it, not too hard, but definitely not where you can like sink your fingers into it. I'm very particular about avocados. I don't like any brown spots or stringy bits or anything. So I chose 4 of them today just to make sure I could get the perfect one for our class. You want it to nicely cut like that. That was no problem. See how beautiful that is? Oh, that just makes me so happy. So I think about 1/4 of an avocado is the perfect amount for one of these bowls. But of course, if you love avocado, you can always add more. It's going to add that nice healthy fat to make you nice and full after this meal. So if you're concerned about this not being enough food or anything like that, go ahead and add on 2 avocado quarters. And I just use a spoon and slide it out from the peel. So it's nice and beautiful like that. Now, if you're not serving this right away, I would definitely squeeze a little lemon on it, but we're going to go ahead and serve this right now. So, if you're going to hold this for a while, definitely squeeze some lemon on it. And then my favorite kind of bowl for della bowls are these nice big kind of shallow-ish white bowls. At the restaurant, we have 32-ounce bowls, so that's about the right amount. So that it's not overcrowded. You want to make sure it's big enough and wide enough that it's not overcrowded. So we're gonna get our bowl ready. We have all of our ingredients. One thing I also wanted to mention that I forgot to say after your lovely introduction, Debbie, is that we do have other locations that are just for delivery and pickup only. So it's not just our store in Doral, that's our storefront where you can come and actually eat on premise. But we do have one in Alapata, and we'll soon have one in downtown Miami again, and we have one in Fort Lauderdale. So definitely check Uber Eats and Postmates and DoorDash and wherever you guys get your food delivered, and see if we deliver to you, because we just might. We just might. Actually, sometimes people on Miami Beach even find that Doral will deliver to them depending on the traffic. Okay, so here's my quinoa. I had not added salt. I like to add salt at the end. I don't like to add it at the beginning. I like to add a little pinch at the very end and just kind of fluff it up a little bit with the salt. So whether you put it in at the beginning or the end is totally up to you. It's not gonna make or break your quinoa. Okay, so you have your quinoa, your base, your chickpeas, which is your veg or your protein. We have our veggie, which is either your cooked or your raw greens or both. We have our green sauce. We have our hummus, our avocado, and then we have either those roasted salted sunflower seeds or the pepitas or both. You guys could totally add both if you wanted to. Now, when we build a della bowl, we work in a counterclockwise motion. So we start here around 6 o'clock. We add about 6 ounces or so of quinoa. Okay, to fill up basically like a quadrant of that bowl. Okay. Then we're going to do the same thing with the chickpeas. We're going to fill up that quadrant right there with about 6 ounces of chickpeas. Okay. Then we're going to take our greens and we're going to fill up that third quadrant of our bowl like that. And then of course what's left, we have our beet hummus. We're going to use about 2 to 3 ounces of beet hummus right there. Okay. Now the avocado always goes in the center, like so, kind of like the center of your clock or the center of your color wheel. And then we're going to take that green sauce and we're going to drizzle it kind of in the zigzag motion if you can, or else just you could even just kind of plop it on there, going back and forth like that. And then we're going to use our crunchy topping. Drizzle that all over. And I'm going to get wild and crazy here, guys. I'm going to also use these pepitas because we've got them. And that's going to be your I Heart Teachers Bowl. Super simple to make. We just made it in a little over a half an hour. It's super healthy and delicious. And, you know, you might be the type of person that likes to eat one part at a time and taste each thing. I like to mix it all together. But you've got a really good blend here of like kind of the chickpeas, which give it some texture. And then you've got the bright, fresh, crunchy of the kale. You've got the creaminess of the hummus and the avocado, the protein and the quinoa, and then the nuts to really crunch it all up. So there's all these layers of color and texture going on there. Does anybody have any questions? How's everybody's bowls looking? Can you guys show me your bowls? Does anybody have one ready to go? I see some of you guys cooking like crazy in there.
Chef Julie, thank you so much. I really am amazed by this and how fast you were able to put that together. Just wanted to let everyone know, if you have any questions at all, you can just go ahead, type them. Debbie's gonna be letting reading them out so that Chef Julie can answer them. Also, if you want to ask her anything about her business and what she does and how you can, order also some food. So yep, we're open right now to questions. This is our question and answer session.
Yeah. One question that we received while you were cooking was they asked if they could substitute any of the greens that we used with cabbage. I told them I thought
Totally.
Asian would be better, but
Yeah, so yes, I mean you could definitely use cabbage. Cabbage I think would have gone really nicely in the sautéed green situation. Um, Although it would be nice in the raw also, you just want to cut it really, really finely like a slaw. I think in our book we have a recipe for cabbage, a slaw that's really nice. Yeah, we do. So if you guys can see that, it's a spicy slaw recipe and it uses cabbage, and it's just got olive oil and lemon juice and cayenne pepper and cabbage and vegetables. So that would be a great way to substitute in there instead of the kale. Anyone else? No questions, guys? Come on, you're too busy cooking, aren't you?
I think Miss Jimenez has a question.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Julie.
Hi.
Felix has a quick question.
Yes.
Can you substitute beets with sweet potatoes?
Exactly. Yes, that is a really good idea. So I would probably roast my sweet potatoes. I actually have that recipe in here too. I would roast my sweet potatoes. Here's that recipe as well, sweet potato hummus. And it's basically the exact same recipe that we just used, only you're using roasted sweet potatoes instead of the beets. And that turns out really yummy as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. We also have quite a few recipes on our blog. So whoever's writing in the chat, if that's you, Eddie, maybe you can write dellabowls.com, DELLABOWLS.com. And if you go in the About tab, there's a blog. And in the blog, we do have quite a few recipes. A different variation of this bowl would be the green bowl. It's got some of the same ingredients and some different ones. We have a broccoli in there. And so that's a great place to find some recipes. And then of course you can also access the cookbook. There's a tab for that too. And it's just $10 to download. And there you'll find like 60 super easy plant-based recipes. And it's all the same kind of stuff. So it might include chickpeas and avocado. So when you know how to use those simple ingredients and tie them in this mix and match way, it makes life really easy. It looks like, is that Scott is eating already? How's your bowl? I see you eating. I want to know how it is.
It's very good, very tasty.
Okay, good.
And
You
it's
were
given me a
working
lot of
hard.
good
I saw you.
ideas from the, from the garden. I've always been trying to do like a pesto with a lot of it, and now I have the confidence because I have so much spinach and katuk. So I added a little bit of our katuk in there too. So
nice.
I don't know. There you go. It's really good.
Yeah, I grow katuk like crazy.
And I want the recipes with. I know you have a ginger sauce that I really like.
Oh, the gold sauce.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, the gold sauce is really good. The gold sauce is like equal parts. I don't know if we give that one away, but I can just tell you it's like equal parts olive oil, lemon juice, sesame oil, and olive oil. And then you just add ginger and garlic. It's super simple with those 6 or 7 ingredients. Throw it all in the blender. That's how we like to do things at Della Bowls. It's just all about the good ingredients, right? You don't have to like get crazy with your technique in cooking. You just need all the good stuff. So one of my favorite garden recipes to do also, we have all the herbs growing like crazy right now, is so I always do the garlic chives, cilantro, parsley, Cuban oregano, a jalapeno, and some garlic with olive oil and red wine vinegar, and make like, it's kind of like a chimichurri almost, but it's just like a blend of herbs. And that Cuban oregano is like the game changer. So that's where you guys are really lucky that you have access to that, because not everybody does. And that'll make that sauce really bomb.
Thank
So
you.
one of
so
the other
much.
questions that we had received was about olive oil in the hummus. And I know you have to be careful with that because olive oil acts as a thickener.
Yeah, and so does the tahini. The tahini gets really thick really quick. Yeah, I mean, the olive oil, I just added a little bit, a dash, right? You're going to get some of the juiciness coming from the beets because they hold on to some water. So that's going to release some of that liquid, and then of course the lemon juice. And I would say if you feel like it's getting too thick, just add some water. I wouldn't add more olive oil if it's not, you know, spinning in the blender or the food processor. Just add a little bit of water. So yeah, the olive oil also.
I shared, sorry to interrupt. I shared dellabowls.com. Is there any other site that you would like for us to share? Maybe somewhere that they can order food?
Yeah, so like I said, we're available on Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, Postmates. And I would just say, you know, try it at a couple different times of the day, because you would be surprised, even if you think you're not close to Doral, there are times of the day that people are getting deliveries from Della Bowls. So we have all of our menus up online on our website. We also have, you know, we have a great venue if you do feel like getting out. We have at the Doral Yard, which is DORALYARD. We have a few different food concepts there. We also have un pollo and a dim sum concept. We have a beautiful bar. We have fresh juices and smoothies, and it's very open. We have a big tent outside, so you can feel really safe and open in the fresh air. And then on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights, we have live music. So it's kind of like getting out and about, but without, you know, feeling too crowded or uncomfortable. It's just like a very chill, beautiful place to be. So I'd welcome all of you guys there. And if you do make it, I have a discount code, which I can give you here too, if you want to put this discount code in, Eddie. It's class 20, CLASS 20, and you'll get a discount on your bowls with that discount.
Is that all caps?
I don't think it matters. I mean, you just would come in and let them know, you know, that you have a class 20 discount. I believe that's good for like 30 days maybe. So yeah, so we really would love to have you.
Can you see my
Any
bowl?
other questions? I can't see your bowl. Let me see. Is that Deborah showing me, or who is that?
Marcel.
Let me see if I can scroll over. Oh yes, I do see that. That looks just like mine. That looks beautiful. Good job. Feel like I am a successful teacher when I see a bowl like that. Very proud.
Beautiful. I'm gonna try it now.
Yeah, enjoy. I hope your family loves it. Anyone else have a bowl?
Like to give their a feedback on their bowl? I see Miss Nakamura there eating as well, and Miss Gant.
I love it.
Marcel, are you going to be able to
have you
get
guys
Nigel
cooking?
that?
What?
Marcel, will Nigel eat it?
Oh, Niles? He might not. My daughter will, I will, but Niles might not.
Oh man, those boys.
Yeah, we have a kids bowl also. Maybe you could bring him and see if he likes that. It's brown rice, black beans, avocado, plantains, and then a tahini sauce, which you could have on the side or on the top. But it tends to be a good entry level kids bowl.
Yeah, he likes black beans a lot. So.
Yeah. Good. Okay, well, you guys, I hope to see you all soon, and watch out for those recipes.
Yes, Chef Julie,
And-
thank you so much, and thank you for what you do. I love your food, by the way. You know, love what you do, and that speech about quality food, totally with you on that. So thank you for mentioning that as well.
Yes,
And-
thank you. Always great to see you, Eddie and Debbie, and all of you teachers. Thank you for everything you do every day for our children. Really appreciate it.